there! So today I have a sweater refashion which I think is perfect transitioning into fall. I actually came across this style last year, and when I saw that it was back in season, I was just like, okay, I have to try my own version. Now I say version because the twist is usually done before this store-bought sweater is put together. Seeing that already happened, I had to do my own workaround, which means my version is slightly different. It's more like a faux twist. To start, I'll show you which sweaters to use, type of sweaters to use, and which ones to avoid.
Try getting one without a collar strip since it won't be needed, and cutting it off could cause the neck to warp. I also recommend getting a sweater with a flat knit, as more intricate ones tend to be bulkier and the twist will create added bulk. This brings me to my last point. Make sure the sweater is lightweight. Okay, so first thing, lay the sweater out with the back facing you, then locate and cut down the center. Be really careful when cutting not to nick the front. Afterwards, decide where you want the twist. I chose the middle, which was roughly 5 inches below the underarm, and marked it with a pin on both sides. From the midpoint to the shoulders, cut a deep V. For the other side, I used these scraps as a guide to make sure they were both symmetrical. As for the lower half, cut a curve from the hem to the midpoint. Now go ahead and cut across the midpoint, stopping a ½ inch from the side seams. After all that cutting, it should look something like this. Before doing anything else, serge or zigzag all the raw edges to prevent them from fraying. This also makes finishing the edges much easier later on. Next, on one side, pin and sew the midpoint halfway. To sew, I used a small zigzag stitch and a ballpoint needle. Ignore the fact that I pinned it a little past the halfway mark. On the other side, close the midpoint, leaving a 1 to 1½ inch gap in the center. Now with the seam laying flat under the gap, sew a 1/4 inch around the edge. Once you're done, it should look like an oversized buttonhole. Before completing the twist, finish the edges of the center back by turning them under once and securing with a zigzag stitch. I included the neck to make it one continuous seam. When sewing, do your best not to stretch the seam. The areas you can't get with your machine, sew by hand. After finishing the seam, I cleaned up the neck. Now it's time to do the twist. Seriously, I wish it was that easy. Okay, for real this time. So you're gonna take one of the flaps and thread it through the gap from the front to meet the other one in the back. once in the back with right sides facing, pin the flaps together along the unfinished side. Doing this should form another gap. Before sewing, check the front to make sure the gap is the same width as the first. Now for the finishing touches, which you'll need to do by hand. But first, fold under the edge of the gap, then adjust and pin the twist to your liking. Once you're happy with it, grab your needle and thread and whip stitch everything into place. I want to mention that on the wrong side, I also whip stitched the flaps to the midpoint seam to clean things up a bit. And that's pretty much it. I hope you found this tutorial helpful, and thanks for watching. But wait, there's more! Of course I had to try it in reverse. This look is a little daring, but definitely doable with a slight tweaking. Let me know in the comments below what you think.